Hello and welcome to another Spectrum Geeks video. As always, my name is Dale and I thought I'd do a short update, kind of a flash update if you like, on my progress in terms of learning to fly and getting my private pilot's license here in the UK. So I've not really had many updates recently in my flying progress, specifically obviously videos of me flying, and one of the reasons for that is the last kind of significant update that I would have videoed and wanted to share with you would be my first solo land away flight. So that's when I get to fly to a different airport, land, have a quick drink and then fly back, doing that on my own. That's kind of like one of the next stages that you get to do after you're competent flying solo. So I did do that very recently. I think it was the 11th of July that I did my solo land away. It's currently the 10th of August 2022, but for some reason my GoPro just decided to freeze up and didn't record any of it. So obviously I wanted to concentrate on flying, so I didn't do any messing around with the camera to try and get it to work. So I just thought I'd kind of give you a verbal update on kind of where I started, where I am, kind of some of the little bumps on the way, and kind of where we are kind of going from here really. So got my little notes, so I'll just read through them so that you can get the update. So my first flight was on the 4th of November 2021, so still under a year, and I'm still hoping, money allowing, time allowing, and plane availability and weather, that I still manage to hopefully get my private pilot's license by the end of this year. That's my goal really, to have taken a year to get it done. So far I've had 33 lessons, so that's lessons that actually occurred. I had 14 other lessons that were booked but got cancelled due to weather. I had another 2 lessons that were booked that got cancelled due to instructor sickness. I had another 2 lessons booked, but they got cancelled due to the airport being closed for runway maintenance. So as I mentioned in previous videos, these things happen, especially in the UK. Weather is very unpredictable and things are going to get cancelled. So plan for that. So anytime I had a lesson cancelled, I would tend to just put in a bit more study into ground school at home, maybe do a little bit of flying in X-plane just to kind of practice some manoeuvres. That's what I would spend my time doing. So that's kind of cancellations and things. And in the month of August, actually end of July, early August, I've got no lessons for nearly the whole month, again due to holidays and instructor availability and things like that. But that may actually be a bad thing because it's roasting hot at the moment, and if you are someone that flies in a Cessna or a Piper, these small training planes, there isn't any aircon. So it's not too bad when you're flying because you can get some airflow in there through the vents, but when you're sat taxiing and waiting, it gets a little bit hot in there. So in terms of some other statistics, so my total flight time so far at the time of doing this video is I've flown for 37 hours and 45 minutes. 30 hours and 25 minutes of that have been with an instructor, and 7 hours 20 minutes have been solo. So in total, before you can be in a position to take your skills test, aside from the ground school exams, which we'll touch on in a moment, you have to have had 45 hours flight time in total. So I'm just under 10 hours away from that, so 8 or something. And you have to have 10 hours of solo flight time. So again, 7 hours 20, I'm getting close to that. And the next kind of milestone in the flying for me is my cross-country flight test, which you do solo. So that's where you take off from your home airport, fly to another airport, land, get a little stamp on a piece of paper, take off from that airport, fly to another airport, land, get a stamp in your bit of paper, and then you fly back. And in total, that flight duration should be more than 150 nautical miles. So I think in my case, I'm probably going to be going from Gloucester, which is my home base, to Cardiff, Cardiff up to Wolverhampton to Halfpenny Green, and then from there back to Gloucester. I think that is the triangle. That's probably going to be the route that I end up taking. I definitely hope that that is videoed and works properly. And I think about buying another GoPro so I can get another kind of better view for the solo flights. We'll see what happens with that. Give me welcome some feedback on kind of camera stuff, because obviously most of the time I'm in videoing really is for my own benefit, so I can look back and see kind of how I performed and how things went. So it's not necessarily super visually appealing, and I also tend to speed those videos up, 20 times the normal speed, because it may be a bit boring to just be sat watching someone just flying through the sky. So I just kind of slow things down at kind of more key moments. So I'd appreciate some feedback on those. And in that 37 hours and 45 minutes of flying, I've done 98 landings, which I think is actually pretty impressive. I mean, nearly 100 landings, that seems quite good. And someone commented on one of my videos that the landing looks quite good. I'm really happy with where they are now. I think I had this weird thing. I think it could be that I've also had 3 different instructors, and each has slightly different styles, and kind of did mess with my mojo a little bit, I've got to be honest, but overcome that now. But I started off where my landings actually were pretty good, and then they went in the toilet for some unknown reason, and it just took me time to get confidence and perspective back to be happy with the landings. And now I'm happy with the landings, some crosswind landings as well. I'm generally happy with the landing performance, which I still think landing really is the hardest bit for me in the training so far. Aside from ground school stuff, taking off it is pretty easy. The plane pretty much takes itself off. Obviously, you've just got to give it some right rudder and make sure you stay on the white line and you don't climb too fast and stuff like that, which is obviously, it takes some skill but relatively easy. Flying the plane, again, pretty easy, and manoeuvring it around and obviously being able to recover from things, doable, not a massive problem. It's the landings really that I think take more time to hone, and only will continue to improve over the years. And obviously that's why you do all these circuits, so you can just crunch through those landings, because obviously in most flights you only have one takeoff and one landing if you're just going for a little fly around. So that's where we are right now. I've recently, and I haven't posted this video yet depending on when this comes out, I did my latest ground school exam, which was flight performance and planning, which I have passed, and that leaves me with basically only 2 more ground school exams to do. So the one I'm currently studying is for aircraft general knowledge, relatively straightforward. If you've got a somewhat of an engineering background and understanding of how engines work and some of those basic principles, relatively straightforward. Just certain few things you've got to kind of memorize, which is going into my usual note-taking format to help me kind of get ready for that exam, and I hope to do that in the next couple of weeks. After that, I had the Principles of Flight ground school exam to do. I've not even looked at that one yet, so not quite sure what's involved. I'm sure it's going to be about lift and how parts of the plane work. So I think there's probably going to be some overlap with aircraft general knowledge in that one. Flight performance and planning was definitely my hardest exam so far, so check out that video if you want to get my thoughts on that. And then that's basically, once I've done those 2 ground school exams, obviously I'm continuing to do flying, continuing to move forward, and then the only couple of things left for me to do will be my flight radio telephony operators exam, which is basically where I get to be examined on obviously my radio proficiency and understanding. I think CAP 413 is the CAA kind of paper that defines all the things that you need to be proficient with your radio communications, and then obviously the cross-country flight that I mentioned before, and then kind of do some mock tests, and then assuming the hours are in the right place, all the ground school exams are done. I don't think you need the radio exam before doing the skills test, but that is my plan, and then hopefully be ready for the skills test. So that's my hope before the end of 2022, all being well. Hopefully I will have a private pilot's license. But yeah, so future videos to come. Hopefully that cross-country video, updates on how I found these rest of these ground school exams. Very much doubtful that I can video anything for the radio exam, but I will do an update kind of on that, how I found it and things that help me prep for it, assuming all goes well, or if not, so you can learn from my mistakes. And then obviously the skills test, pretty sure I won't have to record that either, but again I can do a debrief once that is done. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you're kind of enjoying this Learning to Fly series on the Spectrum Geeks channel. Plenty of other things of interest that I have as hobbies and things that you may like on this channel if you're new, so please check out some of the videos on the channel and consider subscribing and obviously liking this video if you have done. But that's it, until the next one, take care of yourself, and yeah, goodbye for now.